viewers, welcome back to another video, and if you're new here, then welcome. My name is Sharina. Today I'm talking about something a little more difficult than usual, and that's about putting my dog down. It was honestly the hardest decision I had to make in my entire life, but I had so many questions and I was unsure of who to ask, and of course you can always ask your veterinarian to answer your questions, but I wanted to know more of the emotional aspect of putting your dog down and just the perspective of a pet owner. So I just wanted to share with you guys my experience of putting my dog down and just answering your questions on Instagram and the questions I had when I was putting my dog down. So yeah, if you guys are interested in learning more about it, then keep on watching. I also want to say thank you so much for all the love and support that you guys have been giving me through Instagram. It means so much, and it honestly helped me so much with going through the whole procedure. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to try my best to answer your questions and answer my questions as thoroughly as possible. So yeah, so the first question was why I had to make the decision of putting my dog down. So my dog, Lucky, was a Shih Tzu, and the lifespan of small dogs is roughly around 13 to 14 years old, and my dog was 13 years old. I got her when I was 12, so that's a really long time for dog years. So when I went to the veterinarian in December, they told me that she had cancer. So the tumors that were growing around her body were cancerous, and in order to remove them, one, it would be very expensive. So they told me it would be $2,000 to remove one tumor, and two, they weren't sure if that was going to help because the tumors grow back eventually because of her old age and because she has cancer. So we decided to not remove the tumors because we knew it wouldn't help since they were going to grow back anyway. So yeah, we decided not to remove the tumors, and the veterinarian also told us that she probably had a few weeks left to live, and that was in December. So now we're in May. Her tumors were growing, and we knew that she was starting to feel uncomfortable because of the size of the tumors. I'd say like one of her tumors were like this big on her body, and she's a small dog. Our vet told us that as soon as we saw that she was acting different or not eating or just not showing interest in going outside, these are signs that we should look out for, and that's really gonna tell us if we need to put her down or not. From December to April, she was okay. She didn't show any signs of being in pain or just feeling stressed, but recently we've noticed that one, she's gone deaf, so she couldn't hear us anymore, and two, she looked a little more uncomfortable because her tumors were starting to get even bigger, and three, she was kind of walking differently. So like every day would be different. So one day she'd kind of limp, and the second day she'd walk sideways, and the third day she'd be fine. So it was really just on and off with her walking, but we knew that, you know, it wasn't normal and she looked like she was kind of going through pain. So we made the decision on May 6th to put her down. So on May 5th I called the vet, and on May 5th we made the call, and on May 6th they came to our house and they did the procedure of euthanizing my pet. So yeah, that is why we made the decision to put her down. She was showing signs of discomfort, pain, and she was just not going to live any longer, and if she did, then she would have probably gone through even more pain, and we didn't want to see her suffer. So before she suffers anymore, we decided to put her down. And yeah, so due to quarantine, we had to make the decision of bringing the vet to our house, because if not, then she would have been going through the procedure alone. So we had two options. One option was to just drop her off at the clinic and they would have done the procedure with just the vet and Lucky, which means that she would have been alone during the procedure because we're not allowed to go in since everything's closed due to quarantine. So the second option was to have the vet come to us and we can be with Lucky during the procedure. So we chose to go with that because I didn't want to let Lucky go through the procedure alone, and I also wanted to be there for her. So we decided to go with the second option, and it is a little more expensive, but I think it was really worth the money because I wouldn't have been able to just drop her off and make her go through it alone. So yeah, you guys asked me what the procedure was like. So basically the vet comes over, it's just one person. So we had the vet come to our house on May 6th in the morning, and she made us sign papers, and we basically just went straight on with the procedure. So she kind of explains to us that it's going to be 2 needles. One needle is to have the dog relaxed, and the second needle is the needle that puts them down. So she starts with the first needle, and that needle is to help get the dog relaxed and to kind of prepare them for the second needle. So for the first needle, I had to hold her in my arms to make sure she doesn't move, and they put it on her behind. So yeah, the first needle is put on her behind, and then we wait about 5 to 10 minutes for her to be completely relaxed. So yeah, that was kind of scary because when she put the needle, Lucky was fine. She walked towards us and she was just sitting. And then I think like 3 minutes later, she kind of just plopped herself on the floor. Like she just lied down. Like it looked like she kind of just fell. And then she was just relaxed. Like it was like she could still hear us. She could, well, she was deaf, so she couldn't hear us, but she could still feel our touch, and she still knows we're in the room. So she was still aware that we were there with her. So she was just very calm, very relaxed, and yeah. So then 5 to 10 minutes after, the vet comes with the second needle, and this is the needle that puts them to sleep. So she told us that once this needle goes through, it's within seconds that she goes to sleep. So I had to really mentally prepare myself for that because I knew like this was basically it for me and my dog. And I think this was like the hardest part of putting my dog down, because even though she was relaxed, I knew she was still alive. So I was able to just, you know, hold her and just still feel her breathing. So yeah, that was really hard. So for the second needle, she was on her bed and the vet had to put it on her paw. I think she had to find like the vein, and she put the needle through, and it was about 4 seconds that Lucky stopped breathing. And yeah, that was really hard. So it took about 4 seconds to stop hearing her breathe completely. And yeah, it was honestly a really peaceful death for my dog. It was very peaceful. She didn't feel anything, and she was able to be with us during the procedure, so she wasn't alone. And yeah, she was basically surrounded by all of her owners, which was good, but it was a really sad moment for all of us, and it was really hard. So yeah, that was the procedure. It was two needles, and yeah, that's basically, I guess, a total of 11 minutes. So we had the decision to give Lucky to the vet to bring to the clinic, or we were able to bring her ourselves. And because the clinic is just a street away, I decided to bring her myself. And honestly, it was a bit traumatizing because we had to physically carry our dog to the vet. I mean, even though it was a street away, we drove there, me and my grandfather, but it was just a little traumatizing. We had to put her in a bag, so the vet provides a bag for us. It's like this little mini zip up bag, and we had to put her in there and then carry her to the vet. Yeah, that was one of the hardest things I had to do as well, because we had to physically bring her there in a bag. So yeah, that was hard. And then we weren't able to go inside the clinic, so we just had to hand her off to the front and then leave. And then they were asking a bunch of questions, and I just wasn't emotionally okay to be standing there answering questions. So I asked them to call me, so that was basically it for the drop-off. So yeah, and then I went home and then I called them and they asked me if I wanted her ashes. I said yes, and then the payment had to be done through the phone, and they asked me what I wanted the ashes in, and they give you a website to pick out what you want your ashes in, and I chose like this little ceramic box, because I do want to bury her in the backyard. That was her favorite place to play in. So my grandfather and I made the decision to do a little burial ceremony in our backyard when we get the ashes back. So they told us it would take 2 weeks to get the ashes back, so it's been about a week, so I guess another week of waiting. But yeah, that's basically what the procedure is. It was peaceful, and I guess, yeah, I think the procedure was peaceful. I think it was just bringing her to the vet that really took a toll emotionally, because it was really hard to just carry her there. So yeah. I don't even know how to explain this, but basically just throughout the whole procedure, I knew I was making the right decision. I thought about it for, I think, quite a bit. I had a talk with my parents, my grandfather, my friends, and just, you know, I was going back and forth with whether I should do this or not, but I knew I couldn't be selfish. I had to kind of save her from suffering, so I knew it was the right decision, but it's super hard because, you know, they're not going to be there anymore, and especially since I had her since I was 12 years old, it was a really hard decision to make. But I knew deep down that it was the right decision. But when we were putting her down, the second needle, I had an instant regret, or like this instant feeling of guilt that like rushed through my brain, and I couldn't go through with it, but it was already too late because she already put the needle in, and it only took 4 seconds for it to work. So I think I just felt a lot of emotions all at once, and it was really hard to cope with because, you know, you make the decision of whether you want to put your dog down. Nobody's going to tell you if you should do it or not. Like, the vet really tells you that it's your decision. It's your pet, it's your dog, it's really up to you, and that makes it more difficult because it's really on you. So I know a lot of dog owners would say, like, you know, I would keep her until her very last breath, but it really depends. So some dogs, you know, they die of old age, and some dogs die because they're sick, and my dog was sick, so I had to really make the decision of saving her, and it was really hard. So yeah, that was really my emotions. So I really want to talk to you guys about the cost of everything, because I know that's a big question. So in total we spent $550, and that's with the ashes and the vet coming over to our house to do the procedure. So yeah, $550. It's much cheaper if you do it at the clinic and don't ask for the ashes. So if you just do it at the clinic, I think it's $250. And then if you want the ashes back, it's $350. But because I did it at home and because I want the ashes back, it's $550. And you can choose from a lot of different boxes to put the ashes in, so that comes with the fee. But if you wanted anything extra, like their name on it or a necklace with their paw print, they had a lot of options. But if you wanted that, that's extra, and I said no to that. But that's an option too, so you can do that. So yeah, I think what really surprised me was the feeling afterwards. So even after dropping her off and coming back home, it was really hard because it took a while to adjust the fact that she was no longer going to be in the house. And yeah, a lot of people messaged me telling me, you know, it's going to be really difficult for the first few days because you need to get used to not having around. And I never really processed that in my brain before the procedure, so there was really no way to plan for the way I was going to feel right after. So coming home to a house without her was really difficult, and it just felt very empty in our house. It just takes a while to get used to, but yeah, it's gonna feel really different for the first few days. Another question that I got a lot was whether I was going to get another dog, and no, I'm not gonna get another dog. We were thinking about it for my grandfather because he really wanted another dog, but we're still going back and forth with that. But I personally do not want another dog. I just think it's a lot of hard work because you're going back to training a puppy, and just yeah, it's a lot of work. So no, I'm not mentally prepared, I'm not emotionally prepared to get another dog. So my answer is no. But yeah, we're just gonna have to see what happens in the future. But for now, it's a no. I just want to let you guys know how I've been coping with it. So the first few days were really hard, and I just had to keep myself busy. Of course, there was a lot of crying, but because I love making videos, I decided to make a little montage of all of our good memories together, so I can have it to look back at. I was pretty busy with that since, you know, I love making videos, so that was kind of my way of coping with the situation. It may sound weird, but I actually wrote a letter to my dog. So it's not much of a letter. Well, yeah, it is a letter, but basically I just, you know, said a final goodbye to her through paper. So they do say that writing out your feelings really helps, like in a journal or something. So that's what I did. So yeah, that really helped. I think it really was a good way to find closure. And then, you know, you just keep the letter with you and you can read it whenever you want. But yeah, it's just like a final goodbye to her. And yeah, that's kind of what I did to cope with it, and just really talking about it with my friends and family members. You guys have been really great with messaging me and keeping up with me. Yeah, just, you know, venting it out and crying it out really helps. So you just gotta do what you gotta do and what works for you. So yeah, that's basically what I did. I made a video, I wrote a letter, I spoke about it a lot. I really vented about it. I cried it out. I hope this video was informative for you guys, and I hope I answered your questions. And yeah, I just want to say thank you again for being patient with me. I wasn't able to post a video on Sunday because it was way too soon for me to post a video. But yeah, hopefully I get back on track with posting videos. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!